Today, we're going to have a fascinating conversation, a special guest. He is the chief of the Masai, Ole Tendeu. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing well. So great to have you on the program. And we also have Suzanne Alexander returning to the show. How are you, Suzanne?
Hi, David. Hi, Chief. How are you all? So good to be here.
It's such a great
Nice to
time.
meet.
Now, we've had recently, for our audience, for those who are just tuning in on this episode, we've had the opportunity to learn from Suzanne Alexander as she spent some time living amongst the Masai in Tanzania. But I wanted to have an opportunity to do a deeper dive to learn from their chief himself about his people, about his role as the chief, and to kind of clear up any kind of misconceptions or things that should be clarified for the world to understand these issues that they face. So I really appreciate this opportunity both of you have afforded us, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Oh, it's so exciting to hear it. Right, they always say, hear it right from the horse's mouth. We're getting it right from the chief. There's no other place that we can totally dispel any of the myths out there, because the chief is, again, he is the chief of all of the Maasai in Tanzania and Kenya. I mean, to me, he's royalty. I'm so honored just to be in his. Oh, I just adore you. Thank you, Chief, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you to have me in your platform. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what your roles are as the chief of the Maasai.
Okay, so my name is Ole Tendeu, and I live in Tanzania, and I'm the chief of the Masai in Tanzania and Kenya. And so in Masais, we have the Masai system is being governed by the chief or the Legwanak. These are like the guardians of the culture. And so our main role is to make sure that all our cultural values are actually preserved, they are protected, and also they cannot disappear. And so we are the ones to promote and make sure that nothing is being left in terms of our cultural practices. So, and also another role of a chief is that he's a diplomatic representative. So chiefs is a spokesperson of the Maasais.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones to give out information. We are the ones to collect people for meetings. And also we are the ones to attend external meetings to other communities. We are the ones to engage with the government. And also another big role that the chiefs does is we do negotiate agreements, several agreements, be it from investors, be it from the government or other communities. It's a chief role to perform such a role. But another most important role that chiefs perform is we are the symbol of unity and authority. And so we are the ones who unite people. We always peacekeepers. We harmonize whenever there's a conflict. We make sure that people come together, sit and talk. We are kind of legal arbitrators. So we are the ones who solve complicated cases in the communities, especially for the Maasais, be it land issues, be it family issues, be it community to community, be it clan to clan. Is a chief role to make sure that things work well. But another most important role of a chief is we are the symbol of unity. So whenever there is misunderstanding, whenever there is conflict amongst the clans, amongst community to community, if the chiefs comes to that place, people must sit and listen and come together. And the last role that the chief plays, we are the political leaders of the Maasais. We do have the so-called the councils, the chief councils. It's where we make our decisions, it's where we solve hard things, it's where we strategize for the focus and targets in the community. So those are some of the roles that the chiefs plays in the community, especially for the Maasais. And it's only the Maasais community in Tanzania Tanzania that is still having that strong structure of leadership that cannot be breaked by any other interference. It's only the system that works for the people, but it's only for the Masais.
Has this role of the chief maintained its same role through the years, or has it evolved into a different functions over the years and generations?
Being a chief is being a leader for life. You can never you can never be denied that role. Actually, always be a chief, and those are the best roles that you play. But sometimes you can be added other responsibilities as we move. As I said, we do have the council. So in the council, we have the leadership of the council at the national level. So at the national level, we have the chairperson, we have the assistant chairperson, we have the secretary, we have the treasurer, and those other people. So we have like a cabinet of 5 people, which we are forming the part of it. So it's only at that part that can be given an additional role, but at the very national level, at a very high decision making, is the only part that can be added, but you can never be denied being a leader. So for those who are not at the cabinet, are still chief on their position, and they play the same role on the ground. But at the cabinet level, we play the role of a national, we collect all the issues from the community and make decisions out of it. And we talk on behalf of all the Masais in Tanzania and Kenya.
Very good. So now, how is the political structure of the Maasai? You know, in America, we have some Indians who have their own reservations, sovereign territory. Is that the way it works with you, that you guys have sovereign territory carved out, or is it different in your countries that you exist in?
It's different here. It's another case here because of, you know, I mean, this is so different here because of the government, of the policies of the country. You know, they don't allow people to, they think it's an ethnic or a tribal kind of issue. But so how it works, it only works within the Maasai themselves, that we do recognize our structure, but the government also recognize the traditional system of every ethnic group in the country. So, but it does not have would not have like a recognized land for all the Maasai. All land is for the government according to the country laws and policies. But we as Maasai, we are borderless. All the Maasai knows who is their leader, and without any coverage. So we are not like entitled to take decisions beyond the government, but we are to take decisions within our own ethnic group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See. So within your own community, you can make decisions, but there is no sovereign carved out land, right? It's
yes, yes.
And you said that you're between your tribe exists within Tanzania and Kenya. That's correct. That's always been that way, or have they traditionally been in other countries as well?
I mean, so currently the Maasai are in Kenya and Tanzania, but we have also heard that there are some Maasai in Malawi. So we have 25 sections of Maasai in East Africa, in which 19 sections are in Kenya and only 6 sections are in Tanzania. I don't know whether you understand about the sections, and this also answers the question of misconceptions of. So a lot of people think Maasai are homogeneous, we are the same, but there are, if you come deeper, you can now find that we do have 25 sections who are different dialects, who are different dressing code and color, you see, but we all are uniform in terms of cultural values and lifestyle. So we all speak the same language, but you can see some differences in dialects. You can see some people having some words that are not applied in other areas. You can think, I mean, you can have Maasai's ways of speaking being different. Some are slow, some are fast, you know. And so within these 25 sections is when we find this kind of dialectal differences. So now we are in Tanzania and Kenya. But because Maasai are pastoralists in nature, they keep moving. They depend, because of livestock, they move from place to place. We have some news that there are also Masais in Malawi, but we are yet to confirm if they have already taken Malawi.
Okay. Why do you think there is so much interest in the West about the Masai? Why do you think you hear about them in different documentaries and people want to go over? I know from my perspective, I hear about them through the world of people trying to learn about nutrition and what is wrong with Western food. That seems to be a topic of interest, but I'm sure you see this interest coming from different categories besides just diet and nutrition.
Yeah, I think it's because of that. There are a lot of things, but I can just mention a few of them. One is our unique and strong culture. It's only it's only in Africa that you can find Masais being very identical than any other group. It's because of our dressing code. It's because of us being. They feel like we are static on our culture, but we are very strong on observing and practicing our cultural values. So that's one thing that's actually attracting people to be so curious to learn from us, to see what is this, why are these people unique, you see. But another thing is because of our fascinating rituals and ceremonies. It's only in the Masai, our cultural system is the only ethnic group in the world that each person performs the role according to his or her age. So starting from 0 to 5, there's a role that person plays to even 60 to 80 years. So, and that's making the system of culture being very strong and really observed. So you can also see in terms of ceremonies, we have differences in practicing ceremonies. We have ceremonies for youth, we have for junior elders, and we have for senior elders. But again, ceremonies differs from group to group, from function to function. If you find a wedding, the Maasai wedding is different from the warrior ceremony, you see. So those kind of differences, rituals and ceremonies attracts many people. But another thing that is very important, and this is known by researchers, is our effort in conservation and wildlife tourism. We are conservators in nature, you see, and that's why if you come to East Africa, you name all the good places you can visit. Go to Serengeti. It was for the Maasai. Serengeti, you see, it's an endless plain. Masai Mara is already Maasai place, you see. Come to Ngorongoro, Korongoro, you see, it's a Maasai. It's originated from the Maasai. I mean, the places are beautiful because the way Maasai lives is attached to wildlife, and also it's attached to nature. And that's why if you come to even deeper into Maasai's clans, you find some clans are named by the names of wildlife. But again, if you come to Maasai areas, you find their intense and densely vegetation. It's because they are by laws. We use customary laws to protect and conserve the ecosystem. There are ways of cutting trees that is actually known by the community, by the Maasai themselves. And that's why you find the forest is natural and really intense. But again, on the issue of water sources, you also find that there are people who are special assigned roles to identify water sources and protect them by their names and take it as a property that can never be obtained anywhere. And from that way, those people are assigned those roles because they are coming from certain clans, find themselves protecting the water sources and become the champions of protecting the water sources. And that's why all the ecosystem, including the rivers, the wildlife, comes into compact and they attract tourism and investment and the hospitality investment. So that's another thing that attracts us. And another thing is nutrition, as you said. Our nutrition is attached to our livelihood. We are livestock keepers. We are pastoralists. So what we eat is what we are dealing with. So we eat milk from cows, goat, sheep. We eat meat from cows, goat, sheep, and also we drink blood from cows or sheep. So you can also see the way that we attach to those animals, to those domesticated animals. You see, there are ways that we take care of them because of what we are getting from them. Livestock for us, it's like it's an economic, say, it's like you having a job and being paid. You see, you use that money to buy your basics. So for us, it's just the same case. We use as food, but at the same time, we exchange to get other things. We exchange to take people to hospital. We exchange to get other products, to get clothes and many other things. So that is another thing that's attracting food, our nutrition, eating meat, drinking blood. Is not common to many other cultures, to many other people. For Western, you see. So that is another thing that is actually making people to be very much attracted to us. But also there's the issue of global connectivity and social media. You know, they see Masais in social medias with their dressing code, with their singing tone. You see, it's different again. With even their dressing style, you cannot compare with other people. Our dressing style, our tone, our dressing, and our look itself makes people so attractive and be eager to learn from us. So those are some of the few things that actually makes people to be attracted to us. Yeah.
What do you? So is you mentioned eating cultural history of milk, meat, and blood. Oftentimes people have said, you guys don't eat plants. Is that true? Do the Maasai eat plants? In America, in America, we are told that we have to have a plant-based diet, eat most of our foods from plants. How do you guys deal with plants?
We don't eat. I mean, what do you mean by saying plants? You mean fruits or what?
Yeah, fruits.
Anything growing in nature.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not that much, but we use them in a different way, actually. Because the Maasais are herbalistic in nature, you see, and the way we eat meat differs. That we can sometimes roast, we can boil and have soup, and have many other different ways that we can use it. So it's the only part that uses plant is when we are actually boiling for soup. So in using for soup, we have different plants that we use in those kind of soups. So if let's say it's a woman that has given birth, that had delivered, we have different plants that we mix with soup for her to take, so that the woman will get recovered. But again, if it is for a sick person from any disease or from a very serious disease, we also have some plants that we use them in the soup that we give that person to treat the same problem. So we use in those ways, but again we have the natural fruits from the forest that the Maasai eat, and that's why we can live longer without eating, especially when you go to herd, because in herding you can never come back. You cannot come back to eat lunch, or you cannot come back to have tea or have something in between, because you need to take those cows to take enough grass and get water, and sometimes it's very far. So we eat fruits from the forest, and those kind of fruits that we eat, depending on where you are and what climate is in that area.
Yeah, so the seasonal fruit that's available. And Chief, you also will consume honey, because we know that honey is derived by bees using the plant. So you do consume honey sometimes in your chai tea.
We do consume honey. That's we do. That's our food when we're herding, and we also use honey for exchange of other things. You see, we sell it, we trade it, and so honey is another food that we actually have. Yeah. We can consider it.
What are some misconceptions people have about the Maasai that you might want to clarify for folks around the world?
Yeah, one is they think we eat primitive food. That is the first thing that I think a lot of people are misconcepting it. You see, because according to our lifestyle, if they find us in the forest, see us herding without knowing what kind of food people just get here, they think these people are very primitive in the way that they even eat primitive food. But in reality, I think we are the ones who are enjoying the best food ever, you see, because if you are taking milk got everything, all the nutritious things that I think scientifically is proven. But again, eating meat, you see, I know there's the issue of red meat and other things in the Western countries, and because of modernization, mechanization, all the things. But in our area, it's another story, because we do not use any mechanic or any those kind of injections, and even the way we slaughter in a very respective way. That's because we really like them. See, so our meat is really well prepared, very fresh, and without those kind of diseases that people think, oh, whatever, and also blood. Yeah. So, but those are the things that they think we eat those kind of food. But again, we do also have access to many other foods like rice, beans, because we sell cows and buy those kind of foods. And so there's that misconception. Another thing is that they think Maasais have a static culture. Our culture is not, I mean, it's not improving. You see, it's just the same. Our culture is improving so much. Our culture is not static. It's very dynamic and adaptive, you see. And so I see even if you can go back and even look at through the YouTube or even any social media, you can find even the dressing code is changing time to time, and you'll be attracted to see people wearing them. If you compare the dressing code 20 years ago and now, it's different. If you compare even the way the Maya language, the language that we speak, is getting improved, because people are getting digital education, they're interacting, you see. And so things are improving, but we are really very careful on our culture, because we believe our culture nurtures very well. And that's why even if you compare the Maasai, the few Maasai who have got these formal jobs with other people, they're very different. They are very trustworthy, you see. They are good leaders, you see. It's because of the culture. And that's the only part that people see. These people are very static. Another thing that people are misconcepting it, and this is a really big, serious thing, is that they think we are conflict to nature, you see. And this is actually being perceived by the conservators, the conservation organizations, the people, the activists who are conserving the environment, and all the people. But the only thing that they don't know, we are the best conservators on the earth, because I mean we do dress the values of conservation from our formation. You see, we grew knowing what you want to do for conservation. I mean, we grew in caring for wildlife, because I mean, you take them as your family mate. I say, if you are coming from the family that belong to a lion, you'll be protecting lions, not to be hunted or poached by people. And if you are coming from the hyena family, you protect the hyena. And if you are coming from the snake belong family, because our clans are attached to the names of animals, and that shows strength and weakness to each family, you see. And that also complement us being together, because if there are stronger families, like stronger animals, like if you compare a lion with the hyena, or a lion with the antelope, those are different stories, you see. There are people, so our clans are of that kind. And so each clan is trying to be taking the best they can to protect. Same to nature. As I said, we use nature for medicines, and we are living in very remote areas, very marginalized, no hospitals, no what. So it depends on these plants. We take care of them, you see. And so the only thing that is actually making people to mix up is that because of the issue of investment, that people want to invest in where we live, and the issue of land grabbing from the people who are coming outside our culture or our community. Now they are branding us that way, so that they may be able to pass in and grab the land. But another thing that people are misconcepting, as I said from the beginning, I mean, the issue of homogeneity. They think all Maasais are the same. We are not the same in that way. We have the same culture. We practice the same culture and lifestyle. We are all pastoralists. We do perform our rituals, our ceremonies the same. But when it comes to the language, we differ in dialects. When it comes to a dressing code, some people use yellow and green colors, their dress code, and their Masais. And if you come to see the beads also differ. And this can also be, you can know the Masais who are in Kenya and the ones in Tanzania, because the Tanzanian Masais wear most of white beads. In the Kenya Masai wear most of the red kind of beads and black, you see? And so you can differentiate that way. So, and even the dialects, the way we speak, some are slow, some are fast. Some words cannot be heard well, some words can, you see? We do differ depending on the section that you belong. So those are the few things that people really are misconcepting. And another thing is they think also we have a primitive lifestyle. You see, we only we are very rigid to live in the nature. I mean, to live in far from other people. You see, we are isolating ourselves from other people. That is not isolation. It's a livelihood. We live where we think we get our needs. We live far from people because we are pastoralists. We need land for pasture. We need nature for different uses. You see, we need nature for spiritual practices. We need nature for sacred sites you cannot get in town. You see, we need fresh air for our living. You see, we live where we have been living. We have never gone to anywhere, but these other people are going to town and be settled there and be crowded there. But us, we are living the same way we live. We are that structured that way because of our customary laws, because of our leadership system, because of our age sets. So we are not primitive, but we are very strong and we are organized on our living style. Yeah, so those are some of the few things that people are misconcepting it. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that you face as a people and as in your specific role as well?
Yeah, I can categorize them in two. One is lack of basic needs. As I say, we say there's we do have side effects on, I mean, us being marginalized also denies us many things. So we do not have enough social services. You find there is only one school. You walk 20 to 16 kilometers to school, regardless of what age, regardless of what level. And that discourages us to get education. And also being in those remote areas also discourages good teachers to come to those schools. And so we lack good teachers in schools. So education is a challenge. Another thing is health. You know, and that's why we're also basing on herbals, because it's the only reliable way that we can live. But sometimes it's not helpful because you find cases that need surgery. You find cases that needs to get an extra care because herbals don't take, I mean, they cannot help you very quick. It takes time for you to recover. So sometimes we lose people that way. So our health system, our health centers are not sufficient enough, and they're not equipped with skilled people and facilities to cure or to treat people. But another thing is clean and safe water. We do depend on wells that we dig that sometimes have salty water that are not treated. And yeah, that's a really big problem. Sometimes if you cook food, you find if you cook, let's say, rice with our water, the rice turns to yellow or red sometimes because of the minerals that are in the water. Sometimes we fail to eat because of that. It takes time. If you put it for tomorrow, then you can eat because it's going to be very salty, you see? So clean water and sanitation is another thing. And yeah, but another big challenge is land grabbing. As I say, most of the places that we live are very close to the very known and popular national parks or conservation organization or agencies. So what we are facing is that despite that we have given out areas for conservation, like the Serengeti was given up for the Masai Mara in Kenya was given up for the Masai, Ngorongoro was for the Masai. You can name many places that you think they are in East Africa. So what's happening is that these conservation agencies are keeping, they're keeping extending to where people live day to day, and it's because the places they look the same as the national parks, and the most weird thing is that even the wildlife themselves keep coming to where the masses are because of security and because of the nature of vegetation. You know, our livestock keeping style by using our customary laws, of which we do grazing rotation, makes the land to rest and get and regenerate new vegetation, something which is different to where with the national parks, because the national parks don't do that. They don't control the movement of wildlife, but we do control the movement of livestock. So we have times for some places and when we close other places and have time in those areas. So sometimes we take 2 to 3 months in an area and we move livestock to another area and we move to another area and move to another area. I think by doing so, it makes the land to rest and regenerate new vegetation. And that's attract even the wildlife to come to the masses areas. But another thing is security for wildlife. You find in the park, there are lions and zebras. So zebras would like to come nearby the Maasai bombers because there are people that when the lions see the Maasai go away and zebras will be safe. And another thing is that we do accommodate them, we coexist together, that when they come, we don't chase them away. We herd them together. We herd cows and zebras and antelopes. We herd them together. So there's that coexistence that brings harmony and peace between the livestock and wildlife. So that attracts even the conservation agencies to come and demand the land that's remaining for the Maasai. So that is the big challenge we have at the moment. We have people being evicted. We have people being harassed. We have people being arrested, you see. And there are so many kind of problems that are happening, especially for the communities that are living adjacent to the conservation areas. So those are some of the challenges that I can say. And maybe the last challenge is the globalization era, or the issue of technology. See, technology, for us chiefs, we feel like it will make young people to be discouraged to learn more about culture, you see, and this in the education. So we find that people are not, this young generation are not interested to learn about the cultural things anymore, because they can interact with the world. They're exposed to many other cultures, you see. And so them coming back and practice the normal culture, the routine culture, is a challenge. So we see it being in some years to come, it's gonna be a very big challenge, because we'll be having young, yeah.
Oh, do the children have access to smartphones in the places they live, or is that they have to go to the school to get the smartphone, or the phones or laptops? Where are they being exposed to the media outside?
This is a very smaller number of them who are going to school, especially at the higher levels, those who are successful to higher levels. But in the communities, that's not happening. But like for those few who are going to town and come back, they come smartphones, you see, as something new. And so those are the few people that we are saying, if they go, it's really hard to bring them back. So if we have many of them of that kind, it's gonna be a very big challenge in the future.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Chief, are you noticing that when the children, the teens or the older group, when they're going off to school and they're starting to consume different foods, are you noticing a change in their health? And are they having more health issues? And
Yes, food is also another thing, especially for those who are in boarding school. Yes, we are not seeing them because if they go and eat, um, we have, so in Masais we do not have the marasmus kind of diseases or kwashiorkor, or we mean those kids with big stomach, you see, because of the kind of food they eat. But when they go to school and these boarding schools and stay long and come back, we experience those changes that are never happening in our community. And also we experience changes of them start like demanding the same food that they're getting in school. You see, that I need this, I need that, I need this, because they have been eating it and they feel like they're the best food that they can eat. So, but still, if you slaughter, they'll be there to eat meat. They will love to get meat. And if they miss, they'll complain a lot.
So they're not complaining about eating meat. They just want whatever they're getting at school too, huh? They
I
want
mean,
both.
they complain about meat. In school, they complain about it, but they can't get it because it's very expensive for school to make them eat. So, but when they come to home, they claim to be slaughtered a goat or sheep for them to get meat and go to the meat camp. Sometimes you have the so-called meat camp. You take a month eating meat itself and soup and all the things, all the natural food.
okay.
So they claim to be taken for a meat camp. But so if you take few and leave others, they'll complain. They feel like you deny them the right to get right food, you see. But again, if they stay at home, they'll demand getting the school food sometimes.
What do they eat at the school? Is
it processed food?
Processed food, yeah, processed food.
like
Chief,
potato? Like, are you talking about like potato chips and like candy and like
No, I
Coca-Cola?
mean, there's rice and beans.
and
Yeah.
Are you aware
ugali?
of that? There's ugali. I don't know if you have that kind of food.
Yeah, we don't.
And do you have?
Well, it's the flour and water. So we have different things like that, but we don't really consume a lot of that. We have different kinds of processed foods. But and there was it makande? That's the beans and the
There's
corn.
beans and corns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the only three kind of food. There's beans and corns. There's rice and beans, and the ugali and beans. Ugali is an African food, actually. I don't know if it is called steep forage or what. Yeah, it's an
Now,
African food.
Ugali?
you were mentioning that rice and these things are coming in. Let's go back like 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Was that in the Maasai diet, or is this something really quite new over the past?
No, I mean, the three of them are not there. Those are not our food at all.
At all, no. That's really
Yeah.
like in the past couple of decades that those are coming in, correct?
Yeah,
Because the land issue, there's not enough
Yeah.
grazing area for
Yeah.
the livestock, and it's just causing
Yeah.
a havoc in the amount of milk and
Are the
things.
schools they're going to, is it only Masai or is it also other individuals in their class with them?
I mean, the bigger number of them are Masais. So you find sometimes we speak Ma in school, but though it's restricted, but because of the number, we dominate it with our language.
Mhm.
So most schools are most Masais in the schools that are in Masais area. But in smaller towns, fewer Masais in school.
Mm.
Other people are other ethnic groups, and different people from all over.
I wanted to ask you another question that came to mind. I've interviewed in the past someone who's become a friend of mine. He's a member of the Crown Council in exile of Ethiopia. He's Prince Ermias Saleh Selassie. He's the grandson of Emperor Haile Selassie. Does the Maasai have a history with the Ethiopian Empire? Is there any history. It's not too far, right? I mean, from where your people have historically lived.
Actually, we have the history from Israel coming
Okay.
across Sudan through Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania. So, I mean, the Masais, the origin of the Masais was in Israel, and because they are pastors in nature or transhumans, they kept moving for searching for water and pasture and enough place for and enough areas for their settlement. So they moved all along through Israel. They come to Egypt, and that's why even Misri is a massive word. Misri is a plane that when you ride, it deletes itself because of the sun. I mean the valley and the desert. You see, I think there are deserts there. If you write something on it, because of the windy and there's no plant, so it deletes itself. So they call it Misri, and that's why it's called Misri or Egypt. And even River Nile is named by the Masais because the Masais once lived there. So they come all along, settle in Ethiopia for some years, and so I think we have some close relationship with people in Ethiopia, but now we do differ in terms of language. The language had changed. We cannot hear each other, but there are some. We have so many things in terms of cultural practices that we are actually uniform.
Yeah.
And so we come through Ethiopia, settle in Kenya and Tanzania, and it's where we settled. So Ethiopia is a very immediate time that the Maasai settled and then moved to Kenya. So there are some assimilation that the Maasai have with the people of Ethiopia or Haile Selassie. The only different thing is that the Ethiopians, they're also persons like us.
Yeah.
They practice. Their lifestyle is the same, but the language is different.
Yeah, it's interesting that, learning the history of from Prince Ermia Selassie about his grandfather, Emperor Haile Selassie. He was known to be a defender of Pan-African, uniting and working together across Africa. Did he
Sure.
would he have worked with your predecessor of the chief of the Masai of that time when he was in Ethiopia? Would that would have been who he
Yes,
worked with?
yes, they did. And that's why even the Maasais were not colonized like Ethiopians, you see, because of Haile Selassie, you see. And
So he
they have
protected
some,
he
they
protected
learn
the
tactics.
Okay,
Yeah, they learn tactics each other. They learn tactics together. Like,
interesting.
so the Ethiopian people and the Maasai chief were connected.
Okay.
And so they protected each other because they trusted each other. They are all strong empires. And so, and that's why you find, I'm not sure if you read the history, the Ethiopians have not ever been colonized the same as Maasais. We also, yes, the colonies were in Tanzania and Kenya, but we don't have histories of colonies mistreating the Maasais, but we have agreements that the Maasai had with the colonies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting. And there's another common element is that the Ethiopians have had a long history with Christianity, and it seems like the Maasai are mostly Christian. Is that correct?
I mean, with this modern religion, yes, but the Maasais have their own ways of worshiping. So and that's why also we protected the forest because most of the forests are sacred sites. And that's why the issue of eviction is becoming a very big issue for the Maasais because you disconnected them with their spiritual issues. So we have trees that are special to offer our spiritual matters, our religious beliefs. We believe in big trees, that the big trees are God's spoken creatures. And so it's where we go offer prayers and sacrifices. And the sacrifice we give, sometimes we give sacrifice by slaughtering a sheep, like the way it's in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes give out our beads and put on the tree, see, and sing around in the tree. And so and even in the morning, when the Maasai woman wants to milk for milk a cow. So he used to pray. She used to pray by taking some little milk and throw them or the for I mean east, south, north, or whatever. It's like drawing the cross. So there's that connection that our religion, the Maasai religion, is really close to the Christianity. And the practice of Christianity attracts more Maasais than any other kind of denomination. And so, and that's why most of the Maasais are Christians. It's because of that.
Mm-hmm. It is true that.
But we do have our own way of worshiping, and that's why even the Ethiopians have their own way of worshiping.
Yeah.
And that's why theirs is very bolded, because they not allow other people to come with their religion.
Right.
But because of the way the Maasais are, we are very friendly to people. We allowed people to bring their religion, and some of us were converted to that religion. And it happens that most of the religions that took most of the Maasais is Christianity. Though even today the Maasais are branded pagans. They are not strong Christians, or they are not strong any. They are Maasais with their way of believing.
And it's the name for God is rain, right? Is it rain, the name for rain, or is it good rain?
Yeah. So we believe in our invisible God who is at above. So the Maasais believe that their God is at above, at the sky. So when it rains, God had decided to bless the people because God is at above. So we look the sky. If you look where your eyes cannot reach, is where God is, according to our belief. But also Maasai believes that God is invisible, can never see. You see? But so we pray, looking up, talking to God, to rain, to bless us, and to have life.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm reading a book by a guy named Vincent Donovon, and this is the book called Christianity Rediscovered, an epistle from the Masai. Have you heard of Father Vincent Donovon? He lived as a missionary for 17 years in Tanzania, and this is a period of time. He's passed since then, but this was the period of, let me see what year it was. It was in he was born in 1926, so this was in 1978. He published this book. He had spent some time there, and he said it changed his view about missionary work. He said the missionaries could not, missionary work in the West had been considered, you convert individuals. He said that he had to rethink everything when he encountered the Masai. You don't convert individuals. The tribe decides itself to convert as a group, right? I thought that was an interesting idea.
Yes. I mean, that's how things used to be in Maasai. It's really hard to get an individual, but you get people. Because Maasais have meetings. I mean, because of our leadership structure, if things happen, they go back to discuss.
Yeah.
See? So if something new comes, they go back to discuss. And if they discuss, they shape their decision from the discussion. So a single person will not have impact to the community. But if the community decides, the whole community had decided. And that's why he's saying that conversion is not a single person thing. It's not like you get baptized, David. No, it's not David. You baptize the Masais of what place?
Yes.
Because you cannot get one, but you get a group of them. Yeah. Because they have discussed and decided to come that way.
Yeah.
It's really very different. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you participate in, it's a decision that is made as the group, and that fits in with the Lord's Supper or Eucharist or the Mass, the Eucharist, or the sharing. Is that a ritual that continues to this day in the Maasai community?
Another thing with religion, actually with the Maasais, are the restrictions. there's some interference that the Maasai don't like in the religion, in this modern religion. I mean, the Christianity and those other religions. And so, the issue of Eucharist, I mean, they need you to pass those levels of training and the church principles. So what happens for the Maasai? Sometimes, if there is a person who had gone through the trainings principles and passes all the session until being confirmed for a Eucharist celebration, so the other Maasais, if they see the person going to get it, the group of them will join in going to get it without even knowing what is it. You see, it's because the issue of restriction is another thing for them. They are free.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So so if the priest or if the pastor come with those kind of things, people will go there without even being baptized or without getting the training about it. They'll go get it because people are getting it. You see, so there's that kind of a situation that so the issue of Eucharist is really it's very ambiguous. It's really so hard to understand because the masses are going to get it without getting a deeper understanding of why they are getting it. So
They integrate
what it believes attached to it.
Yeah, he said that this is Vincent Donovan. It was just interesting is that he said he had to learn to stop trying to impose. This is an interesting thing that he said. That a lot of what Christianity believes in its dogma are things that were answering questions that people in the Greek community and other places where it was spreading originally around the Mediterranean Sea. Those are questions they were interested in, but those questions may not be the same questions and issues that the Messiah are interested in. And so he said he had to let them kind of make it their own, he teaches them what he hears about Jesus, and then they have to make it their own. So he said, integrate your dances, integrate grass into, like a presentation of grass, right? Different things to make it something that is of your people, right?
Yeah, and that's why Christianity actually performed the Maasais, because they tried to work their culture. You see, they use their styles, their culture to convert them. You see, they make them make songs through their language, and they make them dress and have their dressing codes and everything. You see, to advocate the church issues. You see, and through that process, you keep people converting time to time, and become the complete person, but still a Maasai. But we are experiencing also other kind of denominations that are coming with the restriction that, oh, don't wear the Maasai dress code, don't wear beads, don't do what. They're ending up getting very few people or none people or chased out because of those restrictions. But if you integrate the beliefs with the way they live, their lifestyle, their culture, it's gonna work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, this has been a fascinating interview. I really appreciate your time. It's been a lot of interesting thing to learn, interesting ideas, and interesting insights into your culture. I find it very interesting to think about maybe further questions we might have in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you too for having time to talk to me and hear from the Maasais. I think this is one of I'm performing my role now, but I'm advocating cultural values and everything about the Maasais. So thank you very much for your questions. They shaped our discussion, and I found it very useful.
The folks who are interested in supporting the Maasai as they're, to support the cause of the Maasai, or, their issues with land grabbing, conservation, things of that nature. Do you have any resources or a website or anything that you would direct people's attention to, or any ideas in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the website because I don't know how to run it, but I do have the contact information that you can use. I have the email, I have my number, the access number that can get in WhatsApp. And I think Susan have my old contacts, so she will share to
Put
those
those
who
in
are
the show notes,
interested.
right, David? We'll put those in
Yeah.
the show notes.
Yeah, we'll
And
put
also,
those in
and
the,
also, and just to let everyone know that I'm creating a foundation for the Masai, so that we can help around the world to help raise money and to help be the voice to help the Maasai. You know, we've got so many projects we could do for education, for water drilling, you know, help find really good quality water to drill for the villages, to have solar power so that they can help to, you know, prevent the, we're trying this right now. We're doing a pilot right now. So we just put in the solar panels and lighting because at nighttime, a lot of their livestock are being killed by the predators. And so if we can put in solar panels that still, it's not really, we're still keeping the tradition, but it's solar powered and they can, it's working. I mean, it's keeping the hyenas and so forth away and they're not losing a lot of livestock. So there's so many projects that we have, but mostly, guys, to raise awareness so that we can speak up and prevent the land grabbing, to prevent their land being taken away, that they can continue to live traditional lives and they're eating their food. And it's just, it takes all of us to help them. I just hope everyone's can kind of chime in, but I'll be putting information out there about the foundation and how we can help them tie. And Chief, just thanks for being there. Thanks for being
Thank
such
you.
an awesome friend, Chief. I just adore you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that's a good idea. I mean, one of the best way that we can help is to have a platform that collects our focus and targets and shape what actually we are discussing. And it's very possible if we all decide, like as a global citizen, it's very possible. And yeah, we'll be very glad and appreciative to have your support on let's say these social services like education, health, and the issue related to water, and also the issue of land grabbing, but that's a big question. So we can walk around those ways and see what we can do.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure.
And stay
Thank you,
tuned.
brother.
And we'll be having some live Instagram chats with the Chief, so you can all be asking questions directly to him, because I know that you're all enjoying those things on my channel too as well. So just stay tuned, guys. David and myself, we're really, this is one of our missions. We want to be there for the Maasai, and we're just so grateful. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's always a great to talk to you, and thank you for connecting us. And I think this will interest many people all over the world. We have listeners all over the world, including, you know, not just America. We have listeners I see on our website from Congo, from Indonesia, Japan, everywhere. So this will be a great exploration.
Join the world together. We can do it.
Thank you.
We can do it.
Thank you.